My name is Alan Cole. They call me Skill. Uh, the the nom de plume came from playing soccer, and I acquired that name at a very young age, and so it has become a part of me. The name has become a part of my personal view of life. You know, but I played soccer at a very tender age, and I started to represent the country when I was only 15, still the youngest player to have played for Jamaica at 15, and probably I've ever played for any national team in soccer on the planet so far. So that's where my popularity came as a youngster, a household name in soccer in Jamaica. And when you're involved in sports in Jamaica and you achieve at a certain standards, you find other things come in place. So in doing so, I also became manager of Bob Marley and the Wailers at an early age. In the early days, we formed Tough Gang and things like that. So that's some of my claim to fame.
That's great. So, are you still engaged in the soccer in Jamaica?
Well, I used to coach a couple of years ago, but I've been coaching. What I do personal training. I help people, youngsters, and we were doing a program for the inner city youngsters a couple of years now. It started. Unfortunately, it stopped recently because the guys who organized it haven't got any more playing field. So it's abated for a little while. But I've been involved with training helping the youngsters, inner city youths, on the weekends and things like that. And that's a couple of years now we've been doing it. As I said, it stopped recently, so they're trying to get a feel now so they can start, helping those that need help. So I think it's more like a charity thing, so we try to get youngsters off the streets and things like that. So
how big is soccer here?
Soccer is it's the most popular sport in Jamaica, and unfortunately the game at this present time in our country, it's not moving the way we like to see it move, because like every other sport has been moving. As you know, athletics has been moving, netball has been doing great, but soccer has been. We have a decline in the soccer. We have right at this present moment. I think it is at its lowest ebb, and it's unfortunate, but we can do much better. We just need to get the right people in the right places and, get things in a proper, in what we call in perspective, so we can take it to the level that the people in the country would love to see it go. Because there's a lot of bickering in the country about our football and things like that, and it's really sad. But we can get there if we do the right thing.
So let's talk about the music side of your career. Tell us how this started for you.
Well, I tell you what, it's about 1968, 69. Bob and myself got together, and he wanted to form his new label. But I wasn't involved. We were playing soccer together. We were every day and things like that. And a fellow by the name of Gary Hall, who was involved in the music business at the time, he had the soccer team that played in the top division. He asked me to come and play a season for his team. So I was pondering. But at the time when he came, we were playing some little games in the air, myself and Bob and some other brothers, and Then he came with the idea. I said, "Why don't you get involved in the music and help Bob?" And he was beside me at the time, and I said, "Let me think about this." But I said, "But I don't know anything about the business." And he said, "I can teach you about the business, but you have to come and play for my team, and I will teach you all you need to know about the business." And at the same time, Bob hit me on my leg and said, "Okay, let's try it." And I just said, "Let's try it." And I decided to play for him. I was playing for the champion club in the country at that time, Santos. So I had to go and give these guys a season, and it caused a lot of hard feelings for a little while. But So we got together and I started learning about the business. I became the manager for the group. We formed Tough Gang, and that's how I got involved in the business. And we moved on, you know. But at that time, the music business was very rough. The Wailers had their own label. They weren't doing well because, well, they always produced good music, but they wasn't getting the proper plays, and they didn't have proper managerial structure behind them. So when I got into the business, that's what I started doing, and things started moving then, and you know, we started riding the charts, making a lot of hits, and Tough Gang get going, you know. So that's how I got involved in the business. It's strange, but these things do happen, you know.
Yeah.
You know, one thing leads into another, and you're in good companies, and these things do happen. All of us, you know, we came together and we did it.
Yeah.
Hard days and a lot of struggle, but we did it, you know.
Yeah. So, for someone who's not in the industry, music industry, how could you describe? I mean, what were your actual tasks? I mean, you know.
Well, you know, in those days, when you're like, we call independent producer, a company, a small little company. So, you know, the big companies used to had the monopoly on the business. If you didn't go through the big companies in those days, the music business, you didn't get airplays. And if you didn't get airplays, your records are not going to sell, because those days, airwave made the records sell, you know. So it was very, very hard. I mean, for the guys who didn't go to the big companies, you know, they would make good songs, and they would just go by the wayside, and you know, it was just fun. So it was just very hard as independent producers, as youngsters, Rastafarians at that time, you know, and things like that. So we had to struggle. We had to demand a piece of the action. We wanted to get proper airplays. We had to get, you know, so those were the struggles we had to go through. As I said, you know, if you didn't go to the big guys in those days, you had problems. So we really came in there and started to revolutionize the business with other producers that were there, because you had some great producers in those days in the music business. It was very competitive, really, really, really great era in the Jamaica music business, especially. And when you had people like, you had producers like Scratch Perry, you had people like Bunny Lee, the great Bunny Lee, you had people like Rupert Edwards, you had people like Chalmers, who died passing, you had people like Moody, you had people like Leslie Kong, you had West Indian, what's the name, Benson's, you had Coxson's, you had Duke Reed, you had Baron Lee, you had Coolidge Federals, you had Mrs. Pottinger. I mean, the business was really competitive. So, as I said, we had to struggle, and we had to, you know, we had to work hard, and we had to use our influence to get proper airplays so we could move, you know. And I said it was very interesting days in music. It was very competitive, very creative. You had people like 90, I almost forgot, and all these producers. You know, these people were very creative. If you know that period of time in our music history was just fantastic. You know, so much great producers, so much great music came out in that era that it sets a solid foundation that we have such a rich. That's why we have such a rich foundation in our music industry right now, because of that period of time, the '60s. Come on, that's when the foundation of the music in our country was perfectly. The foundation was put together. You know, so I mean, it was interested. It was competitive. It was everything you could think about where music, in terms of how business procedures took place in Jamaica. And those were great days.
And wasn't it also that it was a lot of message music?
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, reggae was known to be the what you call now, I'm trying to find the right quotation for it, but could we say that the reggae musicians in that period of time, or the Jamaican artists in those days, were more protest oriented individuals? If you look at the great songwriters that we produced in those days, like the Bob Andy, exceptionally brilliant songwriter, B.B. Seaton, Peter Touch, Bob Marley, you know, Dennis Brown came latter in the latter part of the. But these guys were, I mean, these brothers were some great songwriters, you know. Yeah, man, and you know they were Toots and the Maytals, all those people, Toots. I mean, these people, they were expressing what the life they lived, the condition they lived under, how they see things. So, you know, it was, as I said, there is more creativity, and they were protest writers, as you call it, but it's really, they're saying what must be said, but people fail to come to reality. So that these guys were saying these things, were penning these songs, which became, I mean, they're legendary, you know. So as you say, protest songs. Yes, they were protest songs. That's how the conditions in that period in time makes the mind think.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that was also what the world really wanted at that time. You know, the protest songs, the engagement in society, and
yeah, the social context in those days was something that was lacking. You find that rare, those comments were very rare in the music business. Mm-hmm. You'd find, like in the early days, you had people like Curtis Mayfield, who would, you know, and the great Sam Cooke, and you know, Bob Dylan. Those people were what you call wrote songs that had social commentary and things like that. If you listen to those writers, the early writers, they were saying things, you know. But our Jamaican writers, as the ones I mentioned before, and some others I probably forget to mention. Hope they don't feel anyway. But you know, they were just coming out of themselves, and they're going into that different into a different level of consciousness, and gave us these beautiful comments, you know.
So can you tell us a little bit about the setup for creating music at that time? We were at One Pop Studio last night, and I was so, you know, touched by how they create music. I mean, here I've seen it in Sweden, but it's so much like you come in as an individual, you do your thing, and then you go, and then the next come. But here they gathered and they play together, and it feels like you get a totally different feeling and love in the room, sort of. Is that how you created music back in the time? Or?
Well, you know, music is something to me, it's divine. So when the brothers come up with these great ideas, and they're going to put it into music, it is something that comes from within. It's so from my experience, and the company that I was in, it was something more like, it was more spiritual, because I said the harmony and everything had to be coming from within. So they had that type of closeness and that type of oneness going into production. Yeah, because, you know, as I said, it was to me, music is something that's, you know, let me say it again, I think it's divine. So it is something that is created. When these brothers go in, and they becomes the creator, the gods in them now, they become that creative force. Then that harmony becomes something that you need to have that, to get that sound and to get that type of feelings. You know, it is something that is different, and I think it's probably different here in Jamaica, and it's for a reason, and that's why what you saw there is just it's a part of it. It's a part of the culture in this country. You know, as I said, they get together, they do before, like I know Whalers do. Before we get to the studio, they do the rehearsal and so on with the musicians. So when they get into the studio, they know exactly what it's all about, and they have this oneness, and that's, you know, that's something that's unique in this culture. So the world sees this, and they're astounded of what is happening. But that's Jamaica, and we're just different.
So we are working on this music fusion project that we would like to create between Jamaica and Sweden and the musicians, and trying to come together and create new music from two different cultures. What do you think is the best setting for being able to, you know, meet as humans, create something new, exchange the music that you have in you? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, first it has to come from inside. You have to have that type of energy within the ones that are going to come together. Have that good energy, flows, and put it together. It can be done. As I said, it has to be something that will be coming from inside. That harmony, that energy of what you call love. And I think that can do anything. Once you have that, then we can do anything after that. We can come together, different culture, and produce together something that the world really would love. You know? So I think the individual themselves has to have that within them, and then everything will work out.
Do you think that like different cultures working together can be a force in you know, uniting the world?
Well, music has always been something that can help to, like sports. Music and sports can unite the world. You know, they have their part to play. You know, it's, I mean, you see what sports has done. We see what sports has done in this country, and we know what the power of music is. So, you know, of course, it can unite the people. As I said, the proper presentation. You know, it can help to unify different forces.
Right. Peter, do you have any thoughts, questions?
Just one. Can you explain the role of the heartbeat? The heart.
Reggae, the heartbeat of a nation. It has always been said, and I remember the early days when we were in the music, in the early days when the reggae just started being played, getting popular in the country. And they used to ask how only Jamaicans musicians can play reggae. And it said that reggae is the heartbeat of a nation. It comes from the heart. It's something, people love to say it's divine, but you know, can I say that it is more of a feelings of a people. It's something there that we try to explain, and we're never able to explain it to the fullest. The heartbeat of a nation, that's what they say reggae is. It's really, it's a feeling. You know, it's a feeling, but if you understand the whole, what do you call it now, the whole science of the music, if that's the right way to describe it, is that, you know, from ska to reggae, the piano plays at a different, what do you call it, a different tempo than the reggae. So what really transpired there is, and of course the bass line, you know, you hear the difference in some of the chords in the bass line. So they say that that's what reggae is all about. So it's really, for me to express it, it's like what they say, it's a heartbeat. It's something from within. But it's just like it was created here, and you know, the different gods created a different feel, because they're all God. We are all the human beings. You have to understand. When they get out there, they becomes creator of whatever thing. You becomes a god. The god, you know, that's, I mean, we all are gods and goddesses. So, you know, they created this what you call tempo or beat, and you know, how can we define it? The different feelings.
Right. Just a curious question. Do you play and sing yourself?
No. I don't. I do a little writing. You should do a little writing with Bob sometime, but that's about it.
Okay.
I just do managerial part of the business. I use my my popularity and try to get things done for the group. But we want to thank the Swedish people, for television people, for coming here, and we hope that you all come to Jamaica and enjoy yourselves.